So the Maple Leafs won the division for the first time in the Auston Matthews era, Craig, and big changes on defense and in goal certainly helped. In last year's playoffs, the Maple Leafs had Ilya Lyubushkin, Timothy Liljegren, Joel Edmondson, and Ilya Samsonov play key roles. Those players have been replaced by Chris Tanev, Brandon Carlo, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and starting goalie Anthony Stolarz. So, Craig, are the changes enough to convince you that this Leafs team is not only built different, but built better?
Keyword better. And there's a template for having success in the Stanley Cup playoffs and being able to compete for the Stanley Cup. And the blue line is a real key there. So you add Carlo, you add Oliver Ekman-Larsson, you add Tanev. They all fit the template. Big, long, territorial. They take away your space. They take away your time. That's what you need. Every Stanley Cup champion has that. Every team that goes deep in the playoffs has that. Brad Treliving understands. It's going to help Jake McCabe. It's going to help Morgan Riley because now they don't get extended. You need more than one player to match up. It's who can go the hardest, the longest. This blue line is built that way. No fun to play against because everything they're doing is trying to deny you. So as an opponent, you're going to have to earn everything, and they're trying to make sure that they provide every possible resistance they can. Then you go to Anthony Stolarz. Anthony Stolarz has been exceptional this year, not just for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but in the entire league. And his experience last year, people say he doesn't have playoff experience. He watched Bobrovsky do it. He sat there. He watched his team do it. And I think that becomes something that is helpful as you now push it. He gets in there. He's an athlete. He's a competitor. And I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are absolutely better positioned, better constructed to go deeper in the playoffs.
Okay, certainly better on the blue line there. The Leafs, though, aren't only different on the ice, Craig. Of course, they replaced Sheldon Keefe behind the bench with Craig Berube. So how different is it for Matthews, Marner, and company to have a Cup winner guiding them through this?
Yeah, I think it's something that they haven't had, and I think it's something that's really significant because, you know, when you've gone through it, you now know, okay, when do I push a little bit? When do I back off a little bit? How do I support them? How do I guide them? I have this little saying, Sarah, I talk about, if you go into the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room and you ask the players, who wants to win? Everybody's hand's going up. Mm-hmm. If you say, who's ready to pay the price to win? Everybody's hand's going up. The third question is the key one. Who knows what the price is? Craig Berube knows what the price is. And so he can say, Mike, or whoever the player is on the team, just calm down. Just settle down. It's okay. Don't worry. It's one shift. Okay, we got this. All that understanding of the rhythms of the Stanley Cup playoffs when the demands and the challenges become greater. When players feel a little bit more pressure and they tighten up, Craig Berube can alleviate that. I think it's really, really helpful for this group of players that haven't been part of Stanley Cup winning teams or even gone very deep in the playoffs.
I love those three questions. I'm going to use them on the crew around here, okay? The Sens, they're going to hear all about the Leafs talk, right? And they're going to say, not so fast. Craig, you detailed your belief that Toronto has the edge in the series, but can you map out the alternative if the Sens were to win the Battle of Ontario?
I think the first step for the Ottawa Senators is Game 1. You want to start to build some doubt in the Toronto Maple Leafs. How do you do that? You don't do it when you're down 2-0 and you go back to Ottawa. You do it right from the opening faceoff, right in Game 1. Brady Tkachuk, when we think back to the Four Nations faceoff, how many times did we hear him, the comment made about him dragging his team into the fight? Brady Tkachuk, that was the best U.S. players playing. And he was the most influential on that team. The most influential. He's going to be just as influential for the Ottawa Senators. He doesn't take a backseat to anybody, and he's going right after Matthews. He's going right after Marner. He's going right after Nylander. He's not wasting his time on the other secondary players.
No, he's not.
And so he's going to set a tempo and a template for this is the way we're going to play. And I think they have other players like that. Ridley Gregg's edgy. Michael Amadio's won a Stanley Cup. Shane Pinto's edgy. Jake Sanderson. They got edgy players, and they're coming right after Toronto. But you got to do it right from the get-go and plant that seed of doubt. And then just keep watering it. Keep watering it. They have a good goaltender, Linus Ullmark. He doesn't have to give up anything to Stolarz, and Stolarz doesn't have to give up anything to Linus Ullmark. The blue line can skate, they can move, and I think that third line for the Ottawa Senators can be one that can be disruptive and make the Toronto Maple Leafs uncomfortable. And we know that Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson. These are good players. And I think that it's not going to be easy for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And if you want to win, get that seeded out planted early.
Yeah, it sounds like the start in the playoffs is just so key to being successful. Of course, the Leafs fans were happy to be avoiding the two Florida teams in round one, but then, Sens fans like the matchup as well. Sens reporter Bruce Garriock did a poll on X, and fans chose the Leafs as the team they wanted to face the most. So you got what you asked for, fans. Puck drops for Game 1 on Sunday night.